Hello friends, now today we are going to talk about the solid state which is from the chemistry chapters. So let's discover about the solid state. Okay, before we move ahead, we should consider that the solid has a definite shape and volume. We have studied in earlier classes as well. So why do they possess a definite volume and shape? Let's discover that in a detailed manner. Okay, so let's start. Okay, when you talk about the solid, what comes in our mind? Something which is has a definite shape and volume, correct? So why do the solid possess this property? Okay, you can clearly see on the window. Okay, see, you can see in the window regarding this is like solid. When I talk about the solid, we can say that they are closely packed. If I draw the structure of the solid molecules, they are closely packed. And why they are closely packed? Because they have a strong intermolecular force of attraction. First, before I will explain you something, let's talk about what is that intermolecular force. When you talk about the intermolecular force, that means a force of attraction between any two molecules is called intermolecular force. In case of solid, as they are closely packed, so the intermolecular force of attraction is very strong, and that leads to a short intermolecular distance between these two molecules. So you can clearly see, or it's very clearly visible in front of you, that these are two solid molecules. Okay, suppose this is A molecule and this is B molecule. In this case, they are attracted towards each other because the distance between two is what called as an intermolecular force, which is very short. And because of this short acting force, the intermolecular force of attraction between these two molecules is very strong. And this is the reason why solids are closely packed and they have a proper definite shape and volume, because they have a strong intermolecular force as compared to the liquid and gases. Achha, when you talk about the solid, you have to understand that it's a closely packed structure. It has to be come in your mind. When you talk about the liquid, it's a loosely packed somewhat. But why? Because the molecules of the liquids are a little bit apart from each other, because the intermolecular force is little bit less as compared to the solid. But when you talk about the gaseous states, the scenario is totally different. They are really very apart from each other, and the result is what? The intermolecular force of attraction is very low, and the distance between two consecutive molecules on the or inside the gases are very far from each other. So what is the reason that solid makes a different shape and volume? The only reason is that intermolecular force of attraction is very strong over here. Okay, so we have understood that why solid have definite shape and volume, because the intermolecular force of attraction is very strong. So let's move ahead. Okay, now let's see, whenever you heat any object, it can be solid, it can be liquid, or it can be gaseous, there is a change in this intermolecular force of attraction of this. Okay, so when you talk about the solid, obviously they are closely packed. You can see the structures, they are closely packed and they are equidistant from each other. But whenever they get a energy, let's say example heat, from the outside, they start vibrating on their mean position. What do you mean by mean position? They do not lose their position. Suppose this is a particle moving here, it is not going to lose its position, but it start vibrating somewhat like this in their position, and that position is called mean position. Let's understand this mean position by example of simple pendulum. If suppose a bob is tied with the thread, and if it moves from here and then come back to the here point, this point, and then again come back to this, and then again come back to this, so this point A where it's coming again and again, it's called a mean position. So same happening with this solid state. Whenever they get energy from the external source, let's consider here is a heat, they start vibrating on their mean position. As they start vibrating their mean position, they possess some energy, and there is a impact, or there is an impact on the intermolecular force. What is the impact? Let's study in further way. So you have up till now you understood that the intermolecular force of attraction between solid is very high. So as we move ahead, we can say that solid on this basis, it distinguish between the three categories. Firstly is a crystalline form, You can say it is a crystalline form. See, word itself tells us crystalline form. It must be made up of the crystals. Okay, shiny crystal. When I talk about the amorphous, that means a powder-like structure should be there. And when you talk about the polymorph, let's see what is polymorph exactly. But poly means what? A many morph means many structures are found there. So crystalline, amorphous, and polymorph are the types of these solids we are going to study about. You can see a beautiful structure of solid molecules here, and they are equidistant from each other. Always remember that in case of solid, they are closely packed and they are equidistant from each other. That is the beauty of the structure, and that is the strength of the structure. According to that, it is crystalline, amorphous, and polymorph. Let's see individual type of the solid. Okay, let's see this crystalline solid. What you can observe over here is that in the crystalline structure, you can observe that suppose this is the molecule, this is the atom, or this is the atom, they're equidistant from each other. So we can say the atoms, molecule, or we can say rather particles. Okay, the solids is made up of what? Atoms, molecules, and ions. But in this case, in this whole lecture, we're going to talk about that particle. So in case of solid, the particles are equidistant from each other. This is the first point. Second point, you can observe that they have some repeating and periodically something is over here. Suppose I'm drawing this structure here. You can see this structure is repeated over again and again. So this is further called as a unit cell, or we can say uncrystalline solids. They do follow a repeated or a, you can say repeated, you can say here a repeated fashion or arrangement of the molecules or particles is repeated in case of crystalline solid. So what we have understood from this slide is that the atoms, molecules are equidistant from each other. The second point is that they follow a repeated fashion or arrangement of the atoms and molecules. Okay, so in this case of crystalline solids, as we move further, when you look at the amorphous solid, you can see there are atoms present, but they are randomly arranged. As they are randomly arranged, what comes in our mind? These are the randomly arranged, and the distance between these molecules are very different. So when you talk about this molecule and this molecule, they are joined by this line. But when you talk about this molecule and this molecule, they are not equidistant from each other. They are not equidistant from each other. That makes the random arrangement of the solids, a random arrangement of the particles inside the amorphous solids, and the name itself suggests that amorphous means what? A powder like structure should be there. In crystalline format, what we are studying, they are equidistant from each other, so they have a proper and definite shape over there. But in case of amorphous, as there is no equidistance, or they are randomly spread over all over the geometries randomly there, so they are called as a amorphous solids. So you must understand that in case of crystals, let's study again this. uh, Okay, in case of crystal, the structure is very clear in your mind. It repeatedly show the arrangement of the molecules. But when you talk about the amorphous, that means clearly seen that in case of amorphous solids, the molecules or the particles are randomly arranged. Okay, on basis of this, okay, on the basis of this, amorphous solid do show the arrangement, a proper arrangement as well, but they are in a short range. You can see a clearly diagram over here. In this case, they show a range, but the range of repeatedly molecules or arrangement of the particles are not that much long as found in the crystalline structure. So in amorphous solid, they do follow a repeated fashion of the arrangement of the molecules, or rather we can say particles, but they act as a short range. That we have to understand. Okay, so what we understand up till now, in amorphous there is also presence of the arrangement of the atoms and molecules, or rather we can say particles, but they are not in a proper manner, so that's why it's called a randomness. As we move ahead, we can see here crystalline solid and amorphous solid. In case of crystalline solid, the temperature, or we can say the melting point, is a sharp melting point. And why it is a sharp melting point, we already discussed about this. Let's discuss again. See, the in case of crystalline solids, as they equidistance, the atoms or particles equidistance from each other, and the second one, they repeatedly follow a proper arrangement of the liquid arrangement of the atoms and molecules. But whenever the heat is provided from outside on that crystalline solid, what happens? The bonds get breaks. But these are, as the bonds are equidistant from each other, they require a specific amount of energy to break all the bonds at simultaneously, so they have a sharp melting point, correct? But in case of amorphous, you can look at this picture, the molecules or atoms, or rather the particles, are not in a equidistance manner, or they are spread randomly, we can say. So what is the disadvantage of in this case? If we provide any heat energy from the outside, the bond breaking will be taking place, but it is not at the specific temperature. It will be give us a range of the temperature. As, see, in case of crystalline, if you provide a specific amount of heat, all bonds get disrupted, destroyed at simultaneously, because they are equidistant and the force of attraction between amount, the quantity is same. But in case of amorphous, as they are not equidistant, they spread randomly, then definitely the amount of providing of the heat is also different, they get vary. So whatever the energy required for this bond breaking and this bond breaking may be similar, may not be similar. So all net energy required is as a range of the temperature is given. So because of the random arrangement, amorphous solids shows the range of the melting point temperature. But because of the definite arrangement of the molecules or the particles, the crystalline solid shows a sharp melting point. So why they have a sharp melting point and fixed point, you have to understand that. So what is melting point? Before we go ahead, melting point is what? Conversion of the solid into the liquid, the temperature at which conversion of solid liquid to the, I mean, solid get converted into liquid, it's called melting point, correct? But in case of crystal, it's a sharp, but in case of amorphous, it is a range. So we have to understand that. So here something is written, melts over a wide range, not fixed temperature. You understood that? Very clear in mind right now ki what we are doing right now. Okay, so let's move ahead with this. Okay, now what is polymorph? When you talk about the polymorph, what comes in our mind? Poly means many, morph means many structures. So you can see the structure condition 1, condition 2. So polymorphism is a property of an atom, or we can say a molecule, when they are exposed to different condition. Okay, I will write something in front of you so you will understand that. If I write here graphite, the arrangement of the molecule found in graphite is like this. And the second one example is a very common one, that is a diamond. Now I will ask you the question, oh, they are belong to the same group, that is a carbon. So why some molecules tend to form graphite and why some molecules form a diamond? The reason behind is that whatever the condition they exposed, or whatever the environment they are into, whenever they forms a bonds, whenever they form the intermolecular force between them, that is the reason when they converted into the either graphite or either diamond. See, the composition will remain the same. So polymorphism is what? The material or the composition will be the same over there, but the structural activity or the structure, physical structures are the different. So when you talk about the carbon, we know that what is the carbon? C. Okay, so when you talk about the graphite, the arrangement is different, and because of the arrangement, the property also different. When you talk about the diamond, the arrangement is C. You can see a very uh, closely packed arrangement of the molecules you find out there. A honeycomb like structure is there. So that arrangement of the molecules, particles, atoms give a toughest structure to the diamond, and that's why diamond is known as a very toughest substance in all the elements. But when you talk about the graphite, it is a very smooth. Why it is a smooth? Because the arrangement of the atoms. So even though they are made up of the same composition, that is a carbon, but they are exposed to different various condition of the temperature, physical pressures, and other more factor as well, that responsible, or that is the only thing, they are converted either to graphite or either to diamond. Okay, so what is polymorphism, you must have understood now very well over here. Okay, let's move further to understand the basic thing. Now, what is the crystal lattice? When you talk about the lattice, that means I have given the definition at the below. Lattice is the geometrical arrangement of the points in the three-dimensional periodic array. So what is lattice or geometrical arrangement? What is geometrical arrangement? Now let's consider these are the black dots are the points. Okay, these black dots are the points, but when you join them with these lines, you get something structure like this. So you get a geometry. So what is that? Lattice is a geometrical arrangement of the points. So what is points here? Let's consider this point is nothing but your atoms or molecules or particles. When you join it, you get a geometry. So that is lattice is a nothing but explanation of the crystalline geometry is called the lattice. But there is a one more word written over says three-dimensional periodic array. So it gives us a 3D structure of the crystalline molecules. Okay, so what is a lattice? Again, I'm going to repeat for you. Lattice is a geometrical arrangement of the points which describe the structure of the crystal. Okay, as we move ahead, we come to know that, see, I'm going ahead right now. Okay, so tell me one thing, what we understand right now? Okay, if suppose these are the points, okay, these are the points found over here as per the definition. Now if suppose I am joining this via this there is a simple structure is forming, you can see very clearly. Okay, if I'm joining the point like this, I'm getting the geometry. One step by step, if I'm joining, I'm getting a geometry that reveals around it, that reveals further the geometry when you jotted down all the points. Now, okay, so but lattice is what geometrical representation. But what is a very important for formation of the lattice is atoms or molecules. Correct? Or molecules, we can say, okay, atoms or the molecules. So whenever there is a atoms and molecules are present, then only the lattice will be to form. So what are the composition? What are the composition of the crystalline structure? Your basis, that is nothing but your molecules, atoms, they come into the picture first. Then addition with this lattice, they give the geometry which responsible for formation of the crystal structure, we can say. Okay, so what we have to understand, basis means nothing but your atoms points like this. Okay, they're randomly arranged right now, but when you talk about the lattice, they got a shape over here, geometrical shape, something like this, and this together called as a crystalline structure. So we have to understand that what is the crystalline structure. So combination of the basis and lattice will form a crystalline structures. So we have to understand that. In this manner, well, let's go ahead. Now let's talk about the unit cell. In crystalline structure, we are going to study that. In a crystalline structure, what we have studied that something is repeating. Something arrangement of the molecules and atoms is repeating, keep on repeating. That small cell, it's called unit cell. In crystalline format, whatever the atoms repeated again and again, they show something repeated things that is called unit cell. And when it's nothing but made up of the atoms only, you can see this diagram. Okay, so what is that exactly? Let's consider this. Okay, so suppose here is atom, here is another atom is there, here is another atom is there. I'm going to join this line. As I'm keep going joining the other molecules, I will get the same structure over here again. Same structure I'm going to get over here again. So this is what keep on repeating, that is called unit cell. Okay, you must have understood that what is unit cell. This is found in a crystalline structure as well as amorphous only, but in amorphous is a short range, but in case of crystalline it is a larger range it is found. So we have to consider our unit cell mostly in a crystalline salts. As we move ahead, there is a types of the unit cell. You can see simple cubic cell, body center cell is there, then face center is there, and end center is there. So let's discover what they are actually. In case of simple cubic cell, you can identify that it's a cube-like structure. So whenever there is a jotted down of the lines or the atoms are joined, you get a cube-like structure. It's called a simple cubic unit cell. As we move ahead, body center. Now you can see simple cubic cell is everywhere. It's also here, it's also here, it's also here, and there is a difference in between the atoms present inside this cell. So what they are exactly, let's see. So whenever the atom present at middle of the cubic cell, or we can say it is a body of the cubic cell. See, when you draw this, these are the diagonals, correct? So whenever the atoms present at the intersection point of the diagonals of the cubes or cubic cell is termed as a body center unit cell. It's termed as a body center unit cell. Only one atom is present at the middle. That is why it's called a body center atom. So as we move ahead, let's talk about the face. What is face first? In case of simple cubic cell, let's understand what is face first. See, if I am using this so you can understand very well. Suppose if I'm painting this with a red. So whatever I am painting this is a face. Face means what? A part. See, here I use different paint so you can understand. See, these are the molecule. This is first, this is second molecule, this is third molecule, and this is fourth. This, whenever I'm joining as a box-like structure, it's called a face over here. How many faces are there in a simple cubic cell? One face, second face, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So how many cells do possess a simple cubic cell? Six faces. So on each six faces, if there is a one atom present at each face, what I'm trying to convey is that on every face at the center, if there is an atom is present, is called face centered unit cell. As we move ahead, when you talk about the end center, you can easily see that these are two opposite faces and the atom present at the center of the opposite faces term as the end centered unit cell. So how many types of unit cell are there? Four: simple, body centered, face centered, and the end centered. This is very important points we have to consider because whole chapter, whole concept is depend on this. So let's consider again what are the simple cubic cell. So how many edges are found in a simple cell? See, before we go ahead, let's consider this only. In simple, I'm talking about the in simple cubic cell, how many atoms are there? 8 atoms are there. See, 8 atoms. How 8 atoms are there? This is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So how many atoms are there? 8 atoms are there. Okay. Then let's move ahead. In the same case, how many corners are there? How many atoms are there? 8. Then obviously the corners also will be the 8 in number. Okay, let's talk about the faces. How much faces are there in a simple cubic cell? The simply answer is a 6. We have already discussed this. 6 faces are there. And how many edges are there in the simple cubic cell? Edge will be what? Edge will be the 12 number. What is edge here? See, I will draw again. What is the edge? Let's take another color so you can identify very clearly. This I'm drawing or painting is called edges. So how many edges are there? 12 edges are there. How many? 12. Okay, each face contains 4. So it must be a 12 edges are there. So atoms are 8, corners are 8, faces are 6, and edges are 8. It is a composition of the simple cubic cell. So we have to understand that very clearly. Okay, let's go ahead for understanding of the different things. Okay, let's talk about the contribution of the atoms present in a different position in a cubic cell. Okay, let's talk about the first one is a this kind of cell. Okay, see, if this is a BCC something, right? Whatever I discussed right now, if the atom is present at the center of the cell, the contribution to be 1. Why? Suppose I'm drawing this structure for you. Suppose this is a solid. The atoms are compactly arranged like this, correct? Like this. Suppose I'm cutting this part to whatever I get will be these structures. So if the atom present at the middle, it's not going to cut, so it will be present wholly, so it's called contribution will be the 1. You have to understand that the contribution will be the 1. But whenever the atom is present at the face, is going to cut somewhere. So how much is cut? 50% will be inside the cell, 50% outside the cell or in other cell. So the contribution will be found here is a half. But whenever the atoms are present at the edge part, that means they are divided. Suppose this is atom as a edge part, is going to divide it into the 4 parts. So one cell is here, second cell is here, third cell is here, and fourth cell is here. So it is going to contribute 25%, 25 to 25%. So its contribution will be the 1/4, that is 25%. Correct. For the what we are talking about, what is the contribution here? For the single cell, means how much amount or how many atoms are present at the unit cell, we are calculating that. So on the basis of the position, how many atoms are there, we are calculating over here. In case of this, the contribution is of only 25%, because that atom is divided into what, 4 parts, or they are actually going in the 4 different cells. So if I'm talking about the only one unit cell, its contribution of that same atom which is found in all 4 cells, but I'm talking about only one cubic cell over here, it's going to only 25% only. And if the atom present at the edge, then it's going to divide it by 8 times, and the contribution will be 1/8. This is also point we have to understand, that very clear point of view. Okay, so let's talk about the further thing, that is SCC. SCC stands for simple cubic cell. Now let's talk about that Z. What is Z? How much amount of atoms are present in the cell are considered as the Z number. So let's calculate here. Okay, I'm using this pen so you can understand that. So how many corners are there? 8 corners are there. So corner represent the atoms. So how many atoms are there? 8 atoms are there. At the corner, see, again I'm repeating, this unit cell is a repeated unit. Again and again is going to repeat in the whole crystalline structure, that we have to understand. So if this is the atom we are considering, this atom has, suppose I'm drawing another line over here. So let's study this. We just already studied earlier slide, if the atom present at the edge, we have to learn that is going to give the contribution as 1/8. So we can directly put the things, but again I'm repeating for you guys. See, this is the atom which is found here as well, here as well, here as well, or here as well. So they are divided 8 times over there because it is present at each point. So it is going to give us contribution as 1/8. So what is Z? The amount, I mean total number of the atoms multiplication by the contribution of the one single atom, which is now H. So we are taken as a fraction 1/8. And the contribution in a simple cubic cell of the atom found to be 1. Now you will ask me the question, so in this you're not find a complete whole atom here. So the question is correct, there is no atom wholly present, but it's going to form a cut of this atoms, and these atoms ultimately contribute the one atom over here. So what we understand that the Z represent or indicate the number of atom present in a unit cell, but we can't consider atom as a half, 25%, 75%. We have to give the exact number of the atoms. Okay, so atom for representation into the whole numbers, we have to understand that even they are cut, even they are in a format of cut, but they contribute to form a single one atom in case of SCC. Okay, point is very clear, I guess. Let's move further to understand much more things. Okay, when you talk about the BCC, in this case, a corners plus body we have to understand. BCC, body center. We have to understand that you can see in the picture at the center there is a atom is present, which is a wholly present. Now we have already done for the SCC, that is a simple cubic cell. Their contribution is a one atom. In the corner side there are 8 atoms are present, their contribution is what, 1/8 fraction. But in case of BCC we have to understand that already there is a wholly present atom at the center, so we can directly consider as a 1. And corners contribution are 1 atom when we multiply or product this. Okay, so how many atoms are there found in a BCC is that at the corner representation the 1 atom, and the body wholly present as the 1 atom, which is not undergo any cut section. So this is come up with the 2 numbers. So whenever the question arises how many atom, that is a Z in the BCC, you have to give the answer as Z is equal to 2 in the BCC. Okay, BCC stand for body center cell. Okay, as we move ahead further, we come to know that the FCC. Now tell me how many atoms are found in FCC. See, we have seen the contribution in the FCC because the at the face, whenever the atom present at the face, its contribution is 1/2, that is 50%. So when you draw this, or when you see, when you talk about the corner, there are 8 and its contribution is 1. We already done this. We are going to repeat it whenever the question arises in the exam. You have to write in very clear manner, but in this case I'm considering you understood that, that's why I'm considering corner at the 1. But in case of faces, how many faces are there? 6 faces are there. We already counted that. Now what is the contribution if the atom is present at the face is a half, that is a 50%. So when we do multiplication of this, we get as a 3 number over here. So the number of atoms found in the FCC are 1, that is from the corners contribution, plus 3, that is from the face contribution. So how many atoms are there? Z. So you can see very clearly at the face the atom found is like this: 50% is inside part, 50% is outside part. We have to consider this 50%. So there are 6 atoms which are halfly cut. Half part is inside the cell, half part is outside. If you consider half, how many times? 6 times. So it give rise to the total whole as a 3 atoms. So that's why there is a number 3. And the corner add, if you add the corners atoms 1, it's come up with the 4 number. So what we have studied up till now, the Z of the FCC, correct? So what we have studied, just recap it. Number of atoms per unit cell are found to be, or represented as Z, and found to be in SCC 1, in BCC 2, and in FCC it's come up with the 4. So up till now, what we have to understand, we have to clear in mind, the Z is nothing but a representation of atom, but it will not give the exact number. It actually what we are finding, first calculating the contribution, and then we are come up with these things.